Right, right, right. We're live. So, Peter, why are you here today, Peter?
I'm trying to get I need to see Ronnie. I may because I haven't had a reply from the gagging to make community safety services.
And you got that. You got the gagging order before Christmas.
Yeah.
You put
No, just
after Christmas. You put an appeal in
Yeah.
On the 2nd of January, and you've still not had a reply.
Yes. Thank you very much, Ronnie. Did you hand in them 2 letters? Right, right. You got something else? No. They have not replied in the timescale that they said. So, which I'm finding really upsetting and worrying. So this was the letter was sent regarding this gagging. Now the gagging for years. Now it says here, behaving on the 13th of December with immediate effect. With immediate effect, you are excluded from public meetings. The exclusion will end on the 30th of June 2020. But the last paragraph, it states you are entitled to appeal it was within the 14 and the appeal decision will be eventually we now 16. All signed twice as a courtesy for my elected council. I heard 3 times, and she also if you want to take a photocopy of this, will you have a seat, please? Can I just hold on to that for 2 minutes? It's only some of the details. Yeah. So that's that. Thanks, Ronnie. So, my appeal that I brought in, Ronnie now is looking at what's happened and why I have not been replied to, as stated by Community Safety Services.
Can I just say something? I think I know you pretty well now, and I know that when you hand a letter and you hand it in on time, you follow the rules of them doing letters and then and appeal letters, don't you? You follow them rules,
I
don't
took it on board that they would reply as I have done.
Exactly, because you do them things. You've appealed within 28 days. Don't take much. A few people know about your case, know about you personally, so how come it can't be dealt with quickly and the letter sent back out to you?
Because since the Rod Blythe, all them years ago, when I held Rod Blythe to account, and they got his best mate, who was then a councillor of the same party, Christopher Gloucester, sit on the standards panel against him without declaring a conflict of interest. And I kept raising my alarm on how this council is acting regarding standards complaints, abuse of power, councillors not doing their jobs. My name has been blackened. And therefore, that's the reason why I keep being gagged in holding this council to account.
Well, it's unaccountability, isn't it? Considering the new report that's come out. And again, it just says failings. And everything I've seen, Maggie, Oliver, other people talk about that report. There's no accountability. There's no accountability for anything.
I'm sharing with Councillor Maggie Early. As you know, John, I made you aware, I did 3 days putting leaflets out for her, canvassing for her, thinking that she was going to make a difference. She stabbed us in the back. She's done nothing. I left her another voicemail last night saying, in my opinion, she's jumped on the Maggie Oliver and Stephen Watson being brought to account by Maggie Oliver Foundation Fund and the Right Independence South, Maggie Early, and a big team have jumped on that and using their information, their programme, their hard work, and they're using it to promote themselves, which I think is absolutely despicably politics. And because of the despicability of the politics now in place, we're in this state. Standards have gone. Morals have just gone by the board. There's no accountability. They have the cheek to put down the 7 principles of public life when you're a councillor.
That's what I
They
mean.
breach them
You
all.
follow all these rules, don't you?
I follow them all because I've been treated so despicably. In my appeal, it wasn't just Rob Blythe who they covered up, and even their own party covered it up, his misdemeanour. And he's now on the child sex offenders register for downloading and photographing child penetration. He's on the sex offenders register for 10
And he's
years.
still a serving councillor.
He's grown his hair, he's grown a beard, he's walking round.
He's still a serving councillor. No, he isn't now.
Yeah.
He isn't.
They
This is Rob
finally,
Blythe.
once he had to go to court, he had to stop, which is understandable. But they knew what were happening. The leader of the Lib Dems in Shaw, Councillor Sykes, and his others. But when I took him to a standards hearing, he got his best mate, ex-police officer of traffic, Christopher Gloucester, to sit on a 3-man panel without declaring a conflict of interest. He was his best bloody mate. He knew him. How can you trust somebody that does this? There isn't a law, which we've seen in national politics and in local level, of all the sneaky misdemeanours that goes on. And there were rather a dame, a baroness on the general news, and she said, society's broken. Well, the whole fault is down to central government. You allow society to fall with your misdemeanours. In my opinion, the Localism Act of 2011 made every council accountable to their own standards, their appeals, without central government intervention. And because of that, I believe fully that this council, Labour run, has abused that Localism Act, and it is only an Act of Parliament that can bring them back. But regarding the CSE, and over 100 in the public gallery, and because I'd had a misdemeanour with the council with Rob Blythe, they beamed in on me and they gagged me. There was over 100 shouting, screaming. I didn't bang on no screens. I didn't shout. But because I'd had a run-in showing the unaccountability of this council through the Rob Blythe, through the cemeteries, I got gagged. What's happened to all the other 100? Did you try to come down? It's just absolutely scandalous, John.
On a scene like that where there's 100 people in with banners and all that lot, either no one should have been banned or had a gagging order, or everybody. Because you can't put it into think who was not doing anything when they were all screaming and shouting.
Yeah.
But I know what it is. As soon as they highlight you and they can find a way to intimidate you and stuff like that's what they're doing to you. But obviously you're immune to that. You've got a thicker skin.
It's not immune. It's knowing the difference between right and
wrong. Yeah.
That's what it is. I'll just say, I have brought some information. Members Code of Conduct, and it says members and cooperative members must behave accordingly to the highest standards of personal conduct in everything they do as a member, especially observing the following principles of conduct, some which are set in law. Members should only serve the public's interest. In that CSC, over 100 screamed out for a public inquiry. They denied it. The council officers and the councillors elected to serve the public denied it. It states here, should only serve the public's interest. It wasn't up to them to say whether we can or can't. We demanded a public inquiry. They denied it. And if I hadn't spoken up about the serious misdemeanours within the cemetery, how long would the flooding have carried on? And when an elected Lib Dem councillor, Hazel Gloucester, couldn't get the council to act, what use is it having your elected councillor bring to the light of the serious failings regarding burial ground underwater through failing of badly neglected maintenance? But when a statement came, and I asked this council who wrote the article, where the flooding at Crompton Cemetery that has gone on for years was solely down to Storm Christoph and melting snow. There were flooding before, there were flooding after. I asked for an apology. No apology were given.
Just get in a minute. Sorry to interrupt you. So this is Peter Brown, guys, Alderman. Well switched on, as you know. He knows about child sexual exploitation. He knows about the corrupt council and its links to gangsters and stuff like that. He knows about a lot in the council. But Peter also spoke at the European Union, didn't you? And at the European Union, in a big speech, was you supported by UKIP at the time?
Yeah.
And
well, they were only the party that had the guts to challenge, like I did. I appealed against a decision from the European Parliament that affected how I run my business. And hang on, John, I'm just having a look, make sure he's got my letter back.
you just don't just go and talk as normal to him when he comes and that.
I'm just making sure I handed him a letter and I don't want it being way late. Yeah, UKIP flew me over. I appealed. It took 3.5 years to get across. And this is bad politics. This is politics where big corporate businesses can outride our gutless doings of our government. What I did came under 3 acts of parliament within our government for over 70 years, and they overruled it. But that ain't about that, John. This is about here at local level, where everyone has a right to be buried, where everyone should not have a leader of our council associated with criminal gangsters who, when questions in the public question time at meetings, stated, what is your relationship with a gentleman named Irish Immy? And she just said the same as it was in 2019. We don't want that. We don't want anybody running our council associated with criminal gangs. This just isn't a person who is a criminal. He was a getaway driver of Dale Creedon, shot to death and grenaded 2 police women. You know, they have the cheek to condemn me for opening up serious failings, but they can brush it aside.
But I know that's council.
And the worst of it is, John, is that under 1/3 of people can be bothered to vote. Now, people like me, for the benefit of everybody else, are even ridiculed and condemned by my own kind. Oh, it's him again. I'm doing it for the best of all of us, where we have accountability, where we can hold these councillors to account and we can get rid of them. And that's all it is.
You can start doing better jobs.
Correct. Start doing better. But there's a letter here from Councillor Dave Arnott, Roy North, and he says, I fully support, and this was on the 27th of June 2022, when the CSC was covered up, and we want sacking of Gerard Jones, Head of Children's Services, for the failings. We want people sacked. We want no more rewarding failure. We want these people brought into a court And if they're found guilty, we want them sacked and prosecuted for the gross failings. Simple as that. And if anyone says, oh, it's him again, what is it what we want? Do we want our children safe, especially the families that have got young girls? Because it's been coming out, they're being approached from school by
It's
these.
it's a lot more as well. The initial review that we had last year or year before was based on 11 girls, but now it's come out in the papers, and we knew already there's hundreds of victims, or up to 500 just in Oldham.
In this letter, like I said, 27th of June 2020, you'll probably take a screenshot of it, John, when I've read it. And it says, to the chair, I fully support Councillor Bryan's conclusion that the way forward for this council and for Oldham is to for a full, independent public inquiry. However, with regards to other comments in her speech, I want to be clear that Councillor Bryan does not speak for me, the Conservatives in Royton and for Oldham. The report was commissioned as an insurance to assure and reassure the public. It is reassurance that the public, then it has to succeed. And I can categorically guarantee you that it has not. This report has brought to light an astonishing catalogue of unforgivable conduct, poor governance, outright incompetence, and complicity at best. And this has allowed unspeakable crimes against children in the borough. And it's continued. And it's being twisted by evil individuals and groups of men for years. And as the former leader, now leader again, Councillor Aruj Shah stated, it is still continuing. We are here now, whether we like it or not, because of hundreds of concerned residents, as individuals, small newly formed parties, and loose alliances started to speak out against what they saw as a town becoming steeped in the mire of grooming, sexual abuse, and the rape of young girls, and a police service and council who were not or would not act on their behalf. And that's from our council in Royton North. They have forced this council to commission this report and examine its conduct historically and in present. And that was the right thing to do. But in return, many have been treated appallingly. Many have been treated and branded racist, criminals, misogynists, BNP supporters, and far right activists. But it's they that have been voiced over this inquiry, whether it is an uncomfortable truth or not, it is the truth. And these people have not campaigned for any far right, they have campaigned for the right thing. The findings of this report do not reassure the people of Oldham. The terms of reference, scope, content, and conduct of the review has been criticised from all quarters, including damning condemnations from the highly respected campaigner Maggie Oliver. For all those who saw national news, local news last night, January the 15th, John, Maggie Oliver spoke out about Stephen Watson, Chief Constable of Greater Manchester Police. You know, he needs to be removed. And in March, with further delays announced in the report's publication, I called for the government intervention into a motion laid before this council. It carried the full support of all opposition parties, for which they should be commended. We will again call for a full and broad-ranging independent public inquiry alongside any independent of any national incentive that this government may introduce or conduct. And yet, it were blocked. It were blocked by all the Labour councillors.
So just a couple of things about yourself. You're obviously a non-violent person. You haven't took any violent acts up or anything like that, have you? I'm just saying because
I've only
I want to
spoken the
know.
truth.
I'm trying to get why they shut you down. You've spoke at the European Parliament, right? You have things written down and stuff like that, right? And they still don't listen to you, do they? You
Well,
know, now
they're not just listening to me, John. They haven't listened to all the other parties, and the main party was Conservative. Lewis Quigg, and in response to Lewis Quigg's condemnation, our council leader, Arud Shah, has breached her own codes of conduct towards a fellow councillor and made him look biblical and made him look as though he was a trouble causer. Absolutely scandalous.
that's what they always do, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
They love to throw them buzzwords out.
Yeah.
And if we look at the 2001 Richer report, the things that are going now are stated in that report, had been going on 30 years.
Yeah.
So it's nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
It's to do with the
I'm just
council and the
going to ask this
councils.
gentleman
No
when my
worries,
letter
mate. Yeah,
stopped.
one.
No, I'm not leaving until something happens. He's still trying to find something from Community Safety Services who wrote me the gagging order. Nobody seems to know who they are. They keep themselves well hidden. The last time I asked for them to come down, nobody did, so I won't be removing myself until somebody does. The appeal was handed in correct time. In fact, I'll read the appeal, which was handed in person to this office, and a exact copy, 3-page copy, to Saeed Osman, Deputy Chief Exec. This letter was handed in on the 2nd of January 2024. It was wrote out on the 29th of the 12th, 23. Dear Community Safety Services, I, Peter Brown, wish to appeal against your gagging order towards myself on the grounds listed below. 1. This council, regarding a standards hearing towards an elected councillor, was a farce, in my opinion, where you allowed a personal friend, also a councillor of the same party, to sit on this standards hearing without declaring a conflict of interest. I, Peter Brown, made that complaint against that councillor, and this councillor's name was Rod Blythe, Lib Dem, now a proven child sex offender, who is now on the child sex offenders register for
Is
10 years.
that Rob Blythe?
Rob Blythe. This is why I speak out, and also against the CSE cover-up.
Which is the latest. We've had a Oldham report, and then there's a new Rochdale report come out into child sex exploitation. So go on, Peter.
2. The issue of the flooding at Crompton Cemetery Catholic Section and others, reported to you via my elected councillor Lib Dem Hazel Gloucester, only to be ignored, resulting in the most horrendous mental anguish that could have been avoided had you not have lied, resulting in a family member having to be exhumed. Absolutely unforgiving.
And we've already done some videos.
We have, John.
The cemetery. We showed you all the flooding and all that lot. We've seen that, didn't we? They did say they was doing some work on it. But
yeah, but this is where they lied. They said it was solely down to Storm Christoph, and it wasn't. It was an historic stone culvert that had collapsed, and the drainage hadn't been maintained. The drainage is still being monitored. The situation is still going on. I should have been kept informed. I was not. To be called a despicable man by our council leader, Arud Shah, towards myself when I attended a meeting with my cousin after 50 years of marriage and his wife going through 3 years of horrendous cancer treatment, was my family member that had to be exhumed, and she had the cheek to call me despicable. No, it is this council and all those involved in this gross negligence of our cemeteries who are the despicable ones. 4. For this Oldham Council, in my opinion, to abuse the 2011 Localism Act for them to be able to lie, deceive, ignore the cries of help from the public they are supposed to serve. You're a damn disgrace. 5. You lose my personal data recorded by the Information Commissioner's Office. You lost my personal data and put me at risk of identity fraud. So now, up to now, who is the wrong now? Who actually has done the wrong? 6. For this council leader, Arut Shah, to be associated with a known and proven criminal for serious crimes. And I, Peter Brown, only hold this council to account for its failings, and you gag me for speaking up. You should all be ashamed of yourselves. 7. You place myself, Peter Brown, attending the full council meeting last year on the 13th of the 12th 23, in danger of his life by Palestinian war protesters. This incident was seen by the mayor, which was reported also to the police. Crime number 6585, 14th of the 2nd 23. What are you going to do? This is why I speak out. The mayor saw what actually happened when I was hip nudged and assault, and they told the gentleman he had to be moved away from me. You put me at risk. In 12 months before, all bags were searched here. You were scammed. You were wanted. They did nothing. So you have allowed members of the public, community safety services, who is the sole responsibility for the safety of the council officers and the public, to be put at risk. It only needed a knife to be in his pocket to be stabbed in my throat. You put me at risk. You failed.
I've found that a lot of them protesters are bullies and they intimidate you, and you have to support them. If you don't, you're evil, you're the enemy, and they bully and intimidate you. That's what they do.
Yeah. Well, the police saw the video and the pictures, and they even agreed that it was a very intimidating
Where did he come
person,
over and
that
that?
he
Yeah,
came
yeah.
over. I ask, council, that you fully understand why I speak out, and it is you that should be made fully aware of this council's failings and hopefully acknowledge them. I have every right to hold this council, its councillors and officers, to account, for the better for everyone in this borough. And for you to keep dodging your responsibilities towards the public is an absolute disgrace. This again is why I speak out, as uncomfortable as it may be for you to hear the truth. The way forward is not by gagging members of the public, but by speaking to them regarding their concerns and acting fast to address them. I ask that you withdraw this gagging order and start via meetings with Saeed Osman and the council leader, Arut Shah, which is a start. And please, can you also sign your letter to me correctly, not a squiggle, as I have done to you, as this squiggle is not acceptable at all. That were the appeal, John, when we're still waiting for somebody from Community Safety Services, who've issued me this gagging order, for making this council aware of the failings, for to me or any other member of the public raising concerns to this council, to make this council a better council, a borough to be proud to live in, to be safe to walk the streets in, for our young children, especially the young girls, to be not in fear of being gang raped, taken off the streets by these predominantly Pakistani grooming gangs.
Thank you, Peter. True words and ever awesome to say. But let me just tell you, he mentioned Dale Cregan's getaway driver, so his full name, but his best mate with Arut Shah, the council leader, and the last election, the last two elections, he's been walking around the election room. Now, I don't have even though he's got a criminal past and that. But if I was to walk in with someone who had a criminal past, a white person, let's say James Goddard, would he be treated worse? Would he be kicked out? Would he not be allowed in? And if I ever become a member of the council, what will it mean? Will they start bringing up people I know who might be criminals or might have done something wrong? I don't know people like, I don't know gangsters. I don't know anyone who's kidnapped someone and sexually tortured them like Arut Shah's friend did. And I just don't know these kind of people. But would it be acceptable for me to do something like that? This is why I complain all the time, because it wouldn't. I would be all over front pages of the news, but Arut Shah stays off the front pages of the news because, like, she ticks a box and all that lot, and we're against that sort of thing. Yes, Peter. Yes, Dawn.
I'll
Go
just
on.
read
Go on.
another one. Regarding the Localism Act and the abuse, in the Members' Code of Conduct, the introduction states, the Council is determined to provide excellent local government for the people of this borough. It promotes and maintains high standards of conduct by members and co-opted members and has adopted a code of conduct for members in line with its obligations under Section 27 (2) of the Localism Act 2011. And this has given them a free hand without any central government intervention to lie, deceive, collude and conspire
That's what
against
you've
us.
always called for, that central government intervention.
I think they
haven't you?
should be brought back in. I think they should not, on a council as run as Oldham, should be able to abuse allegations of gangsters running the council, allegations of alarm bells ringing in the postal vote fraud, allegations of abuse of power in local law. And regarding this excellent local government, I was told to F off by an elected councillor when I was speaking up against the Rob Blythe. It's a joke. And then we were in the hallway in the council chamber. We were classed as idiots. Oh, you're an idiot by councillors. You represent us. Or were it the gangsters, the cartels, the postal vote fraud that got you elected? Just because our own people haven't got the willpower now, thinking that they can't do nothing to hold this council to account.
Unfortunately, white people are really discriminated against on that way. They are. It's proven. And then, the box ticks to get jobs in now, don't they? If you tick a box, you can get that job.
Yeah.
Even whether you've got the skills or not to do
We've
the job.
got one here, 2.2, selfishness. And this is where our council leader really breaches it toward another elected councillor, Lewis Quigg, Conservatives. Members should only serve the public's interest and should never improperly confer an advantage or disadvantage on any other person. You condemn me, Councillor Shah. You condemn Lewis Quigg for speaking up. You tried to belittle him. You called me a despicable man. And you said at the Christmas, December the 13th, it's him again. Him again as a name. It's Peter Brown. You're conferring a disadvantage because I'm holding you lot to account. You never answered your phone when I brought in the cemetery issue when the meeting were in the Queen Elizabeth Hall. No, Councillor Shah, leader of Oldham Council. It is you who were to blame for this.
Thank you, Aunt Sally, the lodger. Thank you, mate. Let me just tell you something, the lodger. My mum went into respite early last year. When they come round to do the assessment, I said to the assessors, the people who look after my mum speak English, so what I said, I don't want anyone with a foreign accent because she won't be able to understand them because she's got advanced Alzheimer's. Because she speaks with me, she don't speak with anyone African. And I said that to them. And no matter their face back, I was in the right to settle. Go on, Peter, carry on, sorry. Have you got more on that, do you?
Oh, John, I've 3 carrier bags. It's been going on. It's been going on
It has
7 years,
long,
hasn't it? And people are saying, oh, it's him again. The gagging order was again me for bringing to light the serious failings of this council. And if other members of the public don't want to get involved, well, just think on this. When we've got a council leader associated with gangsters and criminals who won't give her association with Irish Amy, when she was asked that question by a member of the public, she refused to answer. She said it's the same as it was in 2019. We know, as members of the public, we can have a girlfriend, you can even have a boyfriend. And in 3 years, you can be married to that person. So things aren't the same. What is your relationship with the convicted gangster and criminal? That's what we want to know. We want to know why you were running this council to make us aware that this council is under proper running within the law and nothing else. Just answer the question, Councillor Shah, the next time it comes up in the public questions. But regarding the failings, it can't continue. It just cannot continue. We need councillors such as the Right Independents who, on the backs of us, and that's Maggie Earley and her big team. I had a meeting with Saeed Osman before Christmas.
Who's Saeed Osman?
He's the Deputy Chief Exec.
Right.
Now, I had a meeting. I asked him for a meeting. I invited Maggie Hurley, our newly elected, who I walked for 3 days putting leaflets out in Royton South to get her elected. She got elected. So I invited her as my elected representative, and she said, would you mind if I bring John Hughes? John Hughes is not an elected person. So they came to the meeting with Saeed Osman. Now, in that meeting beforehand, the non-elected person, John Hughes, who's part of a big team, Right Independence, said, I'll be asking you to leave, Peter, at the end of your meeting. Oh, I said, right, fair enough. He said, I want to discuss something. So this man, not elected, spoke up for my elected councillor, Maggie Earley. Now, he did take over, and Saeed Osman said, can I stop you? This is a meeting, Mr. Brown. So can I stop you? So John Hughes were taking over. Maggie Earley said very little. Now, at the end of that meeting, I was asked to leave. I have phoned Maggie Earley up 3 times, twice last week, left a voicemail, once last night. And I've said, can you get back to me, yourself or John Hughes, big team, Right Independence? I want to know why you asked me to leave. And why did you, on my having you involved to represent, it was me who invited you, was I asked to leave? Now, you've not replied. So this lady, my elected councillor, in my opinion, has stabbed all those who walked the socks off, stabbed us in the back. In the message I left her last night, I've stated, I've read a clip, and it's regarding Maggie Oliver and Stephen Watson, regarding the CSE, Rochdale Oldham, primarily Rochdale. I said, have you kept quiet all these months on the backs of all those who brought it to your attention? And is that what you've done? Jumped on the back of Maggie Oliver and other people? I said, because it's a damn disgrace. Get back to me. She hasn't got back. So this having councillors who we think are going to help us and represent us, they're even worse than any of the main parties. These were our voice, ordinary people who thought they were going to do a job to help us, and she's done nothing. And in that letter that I've had photocopied for you today, John, you are named who were present at that meeting with Saeed Osman, Nazir Dad, and he's a director of the environment. And it says who were present, Maggie Earley, Peter Brown, Saeed Osman, Mr. Lawrence.
Mr. Lawrence.
You weren't there,
No, I
John.
weren't. No.
So I said to Maggie Early, and I spoke to Saeed Osman, you put a gentleman's name in who was not there. It was John Hughes. And yet I've had no apology from Saeed Osman, no apology from Maggie Early on a gentleman who's been implicated in a meeting when he wasn't there. What are we paying these highly paid council officers? And Maggie Early is a damn disgrace in my book for allowing it when it was John Hughes, her big team, who were present at my will that you be present, and then I'm asked to leave. What a joke.
There's about 10, 12 executives within Oldham Council who were on over £100,000 a year, even more some than the Prime Minister. But just wanted to get that in to people. Highly paid, and a lot, half of them are box tickers. Unfortunately,
sorry, John, we've got. It's come to my attention that what's it called? Leader of our council, chief exec.
Harry Cathro.
Harry Cathro is going to be is persuaded to keep on for 2 days a week. The figure is £104,000 a year.
For 2 days a week?
Yeah, probably.
Really? For 2 days a week?
For 2 days a week. Yeah, John,
no.
It's come to my attention. And Emma Barton, the lady you were present, John.
I've met Emma.
You were present at meetings.
I've met Emma.
Where a lady had nothing, lost a job for whistleblowing against under five, safeguarding of
That's
under
our Dolly,
fives.
yeah.
And she said she was appealing to try and get the last gagging order removed. I'd like to know, as this lady is going to be our next, for 3 days, chief exec on 145,000 a year, so the post will be split. Harry Cathro 2 days, Emma Barton 3 days. Who did she speak to? Why didn't I get back for doing the first class, in my opinion, a first class job as a council taxpayer, member of the public, bringing to light this council's serious failings and misdemeanours? And what do I get? You're gagged.
Can I just say, well, I mean, with the failings we have with Oldham Council, if we look nationally, a lot of councils are failing in exactly the same way that Oldham's failing.
Is it due to the localism act, John? Is it due to the localism act?
It is, because they've got all the power, haven't they?
Yeah, central government can't look on how they're wasting money, spending money.
Judge, jury and executioner are all in one.
Correct, John.
And that's what the powers of council have now.
And in the end, they will allow these councils to continue until the last minute before they intervene. It's absolute. And who picks up that bill? They're thinking that our council tax may go up to the maximum of 5%.
It's one of the highest in the country anyway.
But they're losing now. They're saying services will go, but they've given themselves a pay rise. We've got 2 chief exec. We've got directors of services who can't even recognise who's bloody well in front of their eyes at meetings. Where's the money going? But until that, members of the public need to make themselves aware and to attend full council meetings and to scream out of serious misdemeanours and failings. You're doing everyone, your own kind, a job for everyone. This isn't Peter Brown, it's for every single person that's scratching a living while we're having the shit kicked in our faces. Because in my opinion, the Localism Act is allowing these councils to be totally untouchable. And we have to unaccountable, and we have to pay for their mistakes. Thank you very much, John. We're still waiting. Been in, I don't know how long have we been in now, John?
45 minutes.
Still waiting for so many community safety services. 8 days behind in the 5 days that they're supposed to respond to me, and a gentleman has took my letter. Where it's gone, I don't know. Unacceptable. I'll wait while 2 o'clock. I'll be asking for that letter back, and we'll sit here with my own paperwork. Don't forget, this council lost my personal data before, and in my appeal is all personal data.
Are you by any chance under an injunction at the moment?
Oh, they've got it, John. I'm afraid they've got it. Yeah, it says an injunction. I'm
Right.
going to have, John, I'm just going to have to ask for that letter back because I need to read about the injunction. I'll go over and ask for it.
Right. Peter Brown, guys, Peter Brown, legendary Peter Brown. He stood up in the European Union talking about his pest control, talking about strychnine. And in the European Union, he turned around to the people, all the members, and said, well, it's all right for you to have boob jobs and to get pornographic things off the internet. It's what he said to them, and it's all true. EU members have been, with the money, they've had boob jobs and stuff like that, and lip enhancements and stuff, all this kind of stuff on our tax money, really. And he stood in the European Union, said that. He spoke out in Oldham lots of times. There's videos of him in the council meeting a few years ago shouting about child sexual exploitation, and the council walking out when he mentioned it. And he's non-violent, but he doesn't get angry or anything like that. He doesn't show any physical signs or anything like that. And he's treated with contempt, really. And you heard the man, he's good with his paperwork and his figures. If he has to send a letter, an appeal in, he writes a letter, dates it, and all, does all this, follows all these rules and follows all the etiquette, and they still ignore him. But this is Peter Brown, guys. Thank you, Aunt Sally, Timmy Robinson, Dawn, the Lodger. Thanks, guys. He's just getting his letter back there.
Yeah, we don't run astray. Right, now it says here, and it was a warning, antisocial behaviour, crime and policing act. I haven't done anything wrong, only tried to make this council be a more accountable, honest, open and transparent council. A democratic process. They have the cheek to say that our disruptive, preventing individuals from answering questions or providing statements to the meeting by constantly shouting over them. It was anti-Palestinian protesters that assaulted me. I felt unsafe. I'm 70-year-old. I've got health issues. Now, for them to say it was preventive for being run in a fair and democratic manner, and the CSC were over 100, were shouting, banging on the screens, we wanted the government to be brought in. They denied us. So who's at fault? They are responsible to us, the public.
Go on, carry on. Sorry about that.
No, it's about this antisocial behaviour and crime and policing. Right, John, I've just got it back. It hasn't gone astray, this letter.
It's all right. It's all right.
It says,
Wait, 1 second. Sorry. What's going on? Check one, two. Check 1, 2. Right, go on, Peter. Sorry.
it's absolutely crazy, this warning antisocial gagging order. It says in here that the local authority welcomes and encourages the attendance of residents at public meetings, and we recognise the residents' input and involvement is an essential part of improving the borough, making it stronger, safer, and more desirable place to live, work, and visit. And we also understand that certain issues will generate passionate responses. Well, I did. The passionate responses. You had my family underwater and didn't do nothing. You lied to cover up your serious misdemeanors. You have allowed the child social services or leaver of child services to get away with serious failings of child grooming by Asian taxi drivers, predominantly Pakistani. You know, and in that meeting last year or a year and a half ago, over 100 were banging on the safety screens that were there. And yet you picked on me. You picked on me because I raised alarm and held to account a child sex offender, Rod Blythe. And because you didn't like being challenged by members of the public wanting to make you a safer, more prominent place to work and holding councillors to account, you return the favour by gagging them. Shame on you. It's absolutely despicable. It says here that this antisocial behaviour, crime and policing act allows for applications to be made to a county court for an antisocial behaviour injunction in respect of any person who has engaged in threats to engage in antisocial behaviour. I was assaulted at the last meeting by anti-Palestinian protesters.
Pro-Palestinian protesters.
Yes, I was assaulted. So you're an absolute joke and a laugh. But I state again, I will continue to hold this council and its council officers to account where serious failings regarding every single person, no matter what nationality, creed, race, colour, is being threatened by this council. If people don't want to speak up, that's their opinion and that's their doing. But when you cross the line and affect me personally, and I, as a resident, don't want to hear of serious failings regarding CSE, and I don't want to be called a despicable man for raising the alarm of the gross flooding. You had your security around the local cemeteries. Surely the first response saw all the ground underwater. You didn't act. Why did I and my family have to have a family member exhumed before you did act? You didn't even, I'm repeating now again what we're on your first broadcast, John, a cry for help from my elected Lib Dem, Hazel Gloucester, Councillor Hazel Gloucester. Why didn't you act? Oh no, You need to be brought back into central government's light. And you need to be scrutinised going back the last 20 years on how you have run this council and probably wasted valuable public money. Ending, John.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you. Thank you. The legendary Peter Brown, guys. See, check, I've still got my personal mic on. Some woman complaining about filming, but we've got personal mics on, so they just pick up our voices and not anyone else's. Yeah. But thank you for that, Peter. We're on 55 minutes. I'm going to stop the live in a minute. I'm
If
going to hang
people,
around.
well, hang on for another half hour, see if anybody comes down from Community Safety Services. They've refused to reply in writing within 5 working days to my appeal. It just shows you what this council are.
Yeah, yeah. And again, Peter follows all the council etiquette, as in he has to appeal with a letter, which he has done. He's had a letter back saying he's going to get an answer within 5 days, and he hasn't had that answer. And it's 10, 11 days now, isn't it? We've worked out it's 11 days. And you know, if Peter were just come in and started throwing his appeal through the counter, over the counter like nothing, fair enough. You know, you could see the council man, but he does everything properly, Peter. I have got to say that. His letters are all dated, stamped, whatever, signed, whatever. And he often gets letters that are not signed, don't you?
It's just a squiggle mark,
Just
which
a
I said
squiggle.
is not acceptable. It's no signature at all. And it's, who are these people? Community Safety Services. If they are shown, and we can get a picture of them, how would other people, the neighbours, other members of public, deem that these are the secret service of this council who don't want to be highlighted because they're doing the filthy, dirty task by these highly paid council officers and councillors who want to shut the public up and want to totally ignore democracy?
And I mean, you know, I don't work like that. I'm a real person. I don't hide behind nothing. I don't do stuff like that, me. I don't troll people on Twitter from hidden accounts. I don't do anything. Real person, me. It's one of the reasons that they struggle to do anything against me, because I'm so honest and open person. I don't hide my address or anything like that. My address is online. My phone number's online. Not bothered. I do get the odd crank call or troll call, but my answer to them is, for them phoning me up, they must be a right shithead, because they can't even knock on my door. That's what I say. And but no, we do things properly, and I'm doing things properly as a council. I want to do things properly, so I'm following council etiquette. When we go to meetings, I'm not disruptive. I take notes and stuff like that. I'm not here to catch anybody out or anything. I'm just here to put the honest truth up. And the honest truth is, today I'm with Peter, supporting Peter, as I have done for about 18 months now, Peter, from the graveyard, the cemetery graveyard.
For Rob Blythe, 7 years
And
ago. Really.
I've supported Peter myself just a couple of years, 18 months, but this has been going on for Peter for 7 years. And again, he follows council etiquette. He puts in replies in writing with the correct things on it. He doesn't do anything backwards, not late with anything. We could expect the council to be not late with the answer back to you.
The only reason that the council deem that I interrupt is because they don't listen. And I said to Saeed Osman at that meeting that you were named, John, yet you were there, but with Councillor Maggie early. The way forward, and in my appeal, is to have a public forum where any member of the public regarding serious concerns on how this council's run to be listened to and acted upon. A 15-minute public question time where the council take up most of the time allocated for that public question time, and then the people who answer don't answer the question in the first place, only riles people up. If you think we're going to go away, think again. We want you to be made accountable which is your elected duty. If you're not prepared to respect the views of the public who vote and elect you in, then it's a bad do. But regarding the postal vote fraud and allegations, conspiracy theories, whether they're true or false, regarding this town being run by criminals and gangsters, let's have an end to it. But what I do know, John, is what's the police's role? You class them as partners. You class them council as partners. You have been held to account for serious failings, GMP. And on last night's with Maggie Oliver, Stephen Watts. Sorry. Community service.
Yes.
Right.
No, I'm not.
Oh, well, can I ask who we are? Right, well, say he does, man. He's never replied. He's never replied to 2 voicemails I've left him. And he's never replied to another gentleman of Stephen Kenyon. He's not replied. And also, I've left 3 voicemails for Maggie Hurley, my newly elected councillor, and she's not replied. She hasn't replied. Now, I've been gagged. Are you aware of it? Yeah, well, I've sent an appeal in.
Yes, that's my understanding.
And 5 days should have had a reply in writing. We're now double that time, and I haven't had no response.
So, can I commit to you?
Yeah.
Within 48 hours, we'll get you a response to that. So,
Oh,
my
no.
understanding is to appeal. So, I understand the process was we wrote out to you with a suggestion about you not attending public meetings for a period.
Well, it wasn't a suggestion, it was a gagging order.
That you were to attend public meetings
Yeah.
in the way that we have previously with Odysee for duty behaviour. There was an appeal process listed within that letter. That
There was, which I followed.
You absolutely have. So my understanding is we've had that response, and that's being considered, and that you will get a response to that. I didn't understand that there was a 5-day response to that.
Sure, yeah.
So let me chase that up for you, and I'll commit to getting you a response in the next 48 hours.
And the 3-page letter of appeal was also handed in.
And so I haven't seen that because I'm not dealing with it. So I don't want you to think that I have that information in terms of what the body of your appeal is. But right. I will go make sure that you get a response.
I will. I will just quickly. I'll quickly show you. So it was wrote out. Was
just before Christmas.
Yeah. And in one of them, it was, I ask you withdraw the gagging order and start having meetings. Please also sign your letter to me correctly, as I have done to you. That signature is not acceptable at all. It just is not. It's totally unacceptable. And that is the signature. And it says, you are entitled to appeal. You should send your appeal in writing. I handed it in to Rob, 2 letters. The appeal decision will be confirmed to you in writing within 5 working days.
So it's handed in between Christmas and New Year, was it?
2nd of Jan.
Oh, you handed it in on the 2nd of Jan?
I handed it in to Rob, and Rob has clarified that he did send it in, and also that same appeal letter was handed in to
Sorry, do you mind if I just sit down?
Of course, yeah, of course, Dan, yeah.
Big Johnny,
Yeah. No, I think because it was weekend. And then it was,
we've got copies of everything, Linda, but thank you very much. Pete follows all council etiquette. If they want a signed letter dated, Pete does that. I've seen all his stuff over 7 years. He doesn't fail on that. He doesn't fail on that respect. But obviously, you'd think they'd do the same back to him. But he's clearly got a letter. Within 5 days, he's supposed to have a response to his appeal, and it's going to get chased up. But it's fair enough. It's fair enough. I've done stuff with Pete now for 2 years, I've seen all his evidence, I've seen all his stuff, and he follows etiquette, he follows the processes of letters. He's written to the Prime Minister, European Parliament, chief executives, the church, and stuff like that. It's only fair he gets it back. But he has got a deputy exec now dealing with him, so I'm comfortable with that. So a woman was complaining then that I was filming without her permission. Well, the thing is, I wasn't talking to her. Now, if I'd have gone over talking to her without her permission, then that's something she could have said, but I didn't say that. I'm in a public place and she just walked past me and started complaining to everyone, but well.
So that's in relation to a slightly different issue, isn't it? Which is this historic issue around the cemetery.
But it's regarded, and I'm said to say, the only way forward is to stop people shouting out.
Yeah, Linda, thank you very much.
Anyone in the borough.
Like I said, I've always supported Peter. He's not in Hollingwood. He came to me before I started a political party asking for my support, filming demonstrations and stuff like that, and I've supported him all the way through. We've been to a couple of meetings with Chief Executive Emma Barnes over his issues, with Dorothy Lord and also Julie Haywood, who was assaulted by security staff here. And I haven't forgotten that, and I still shout for that as well. And the other week when we were at Writing Independence, someone mentioned something about Juliet, John Hughes, and I said, but she's got a grievance that she was assaulted by the security. I know because I've been to the meetings with her. And it should be something that she can discuss with her local councillor or councillor or Oldham councillor. She should be able to speak like that. But it's a way that they bully and intimidate us. And if you know Julie, she's a little tiny woman. Not a violent person, she's a little tiny woman, and that's how they treated her. But you know,
on the dream and the live in the local press that I said to Harry Campbell, I said, who wrote this statement? This drain, the flooding at Crompton Cemetery was solely down to Storm Christopher melting snow. It was an historic drain.
Yeah. And since then, we have had to update that drainage, haven't we?
You have, and you've altered, and I've never been kept informed. So you've neglected on that. But regarding this last issue, I heard at the Armistice procession, and on the Saturday before the Armistice Day in Westminster, London police stated they would take an anti-Semitic view of any Palestinian banners being flown.
Right.
I comes in.
I don't know about that. I don't know what.
Right. Well, it was on national news. I came in on December the 13th that is attributed.
Is this at full council?
Yeah. Where I've been gagged again. I'll show it, yeah.
Oh, is that?
Oh, right. Well, I'll show you close up. Nobody ever mentioned Mr. Green. Nobody ever mentioned. He's not been gagged, Mr. Green. Mr. Grinch hasn't been gagged.
I was quite impressed at your ability to get
what,
Grinch back into.
But we weren't searched and we weren't wronged. And that
I mean, it wouldn't have shown on the one, but anyway. But yeah.
No, but in my appeal, my life was put at risk by a gentleman. The past 12 months, all bags were searched, and in one respect, we were wounded.
Yeah.
We weren't wounded this time. We weren't even searched. We weren't frisked in any way. We weren't
nothing at all.
Nothing at all. Now, that's the gentleman.
Yeah, no, I remember the incident.
Yeah,
Mr. Brown, so I do remember. I remember there was a series of altercations and interactions between.
Yeah, but when he came and I showed the police and I put the crime number in my appeal where I was assaulted, he came to my home and I says to the police officers, How would you feel if a hoodie and everyone associates hooded males with rogues? Unfortunately, I don't know what it is. It's a symbol. Hey, we're hoodies. You'll do as you're told, Wellington. And he came over, and now you can see at this view, it might just. So, and then the mayor says, I saw what, because I screamed out and get the police, I've been assaulted. And he nudged me, which the police said, that it's an assault. It's not a serious, but you've been assaulted. Now, the police crime number was 685 and it was 14. Now, when I reported it, the police said, well, if you felt threatened, and two gentlemen walked me home for nothing because they were frightened they were going to get jumped on. So two men walked me home, and then when we got to the hospital, I said, look, you live at the other side of Huddersfield Road. I'm all right. So no need to walk with me. But no, they said, you could be jumped on here. But the nurse saw it, he had him removed. Now, he'd have had him, and we know what happened to the soldier, Lee Rigby, he decapitated him. Stood the knife, rang his throat, and tried to decapitate him. Now, if I'd have had a knife, and he'd have stuck that knife in me, I would have been dead. But we couldn't. And I only asked, why are you here? Why are you here? For all the misdemeanors that's been going on. Why are you here? And the gentleman at the front just went like that. Now, this man who sat at side, after he hit me, he went, told me to shut up. Now, the mayor saw it, and in the letter, the mayor saw it. I've had him moved. I could have been dead. Where were the frisky? Community safety.
I'll check it because I don't know. So we have a process, as you know, because you come to every meeting, don't you? So
well, I don't.
Do you not?
Well, I've missed a few.
Yeah.
I missed a few.
You're
And
regular. You're regular.
Yeah, you're one of our regulars. So, and there is a process, and my understanding of that was that there were those security measures in place.
No.
So if that didn't happen,
No, they
let me
just
check
took
on
your
that.
picture.
And that forms part of your appeal, I assume.
Yeah.
Some of the evidence that you put forward. Yeah. I'll just put included in that so I can see. Because just to be clear, I'm not hearing your appeal or anything to do with it. I'm just going to make sure you get a response.
Yeah,
okay?
you place myself, Peter Brown, attending the full council, 13 in danger of his life by Palestinian war protesters. This incident was seen by the mayor, was reported to the police crime number. What are you going to do about this? And these are all riots.
And on this as well, just to reassure you, if the police come to us and ask us to support any sort of investigation into what went on, obviously we would support that. So if you've made that report to the police, then obviously we obviously and always would support any investigation around any crime.
Right.
So if they come to us and ask for that, and I don't know if they have or not, so I don't want to pretend I know something that I don't, because I don't.
When they came to me home, two police officers said, this gentleman, and I says, you'll know about me, yeah. Now, I've been on the phone to Roger.
Share him the links, guy, please.
He said,
I want some donations in as well for leaflets. Got a campaign coming up in May. So if anyone can help, that'd be grateful. PayPal links at the bottom. You can even join the party. Nationalisingparty.uk. But yeah, thank you very much. We're at Oldham Council, finishing soon. I've got to go to ICC and the doctors. And the doctor's been changed, and I'm just a bit worried, so I'm going there now. But I'll catch you all up soon. Just wait for Pete to finish, and then we'll be off.
That he'll arrange a meeting with this man. How do you feel about that. Well, I said, I want to know when I approached them, why are you here? In all these years that I've been trying to hold and make this council better, I've never seen any of you. Why are you here? We can't alter anything that's going on in Gaza. I wish we could.
I know, but they are entitled to come to protest
Correct.
around that issue in the same way that other people would come maybe once
But
or
it-
twice to protest about another issue if it was in the news.
But it was Cameron Gafford.
Otherwise.
It was Cameron Gafford when he
Oh, I don't
passed
know.
me, and I says to Cameron, "You've been expelled from the country. You had a Palestinian banner wrapped around your wrist, and they've kicked you out. You've had to go independent. How do you feel?" He said, "You're wearing a poppy." I said, "Of course I'm wearing a poppy, and I never take it off until the next poppy time. It is not 1 month, 3 weeks, or one armistice
In Oldham,
to
we have
respect
to,
all
if you
those
don't
young
support
lives.
the
But what's
Palestinians, you're
happening in
bullied
there,
and feel
we
intimidated, and
always
this is what it
have to
is
stop
for
it on
Peter.
both sides.
And it's what it's
We
been
all,
like for me when
we
I've
didn't have no
commented on
children, no women,
Palestinian
no
or Israeli
to
post, and really, nobody should be
at all.
bullying
We
me
don't want,
into
but that's
supporting them,
what.
and I don't.
But
I'd rather have
regarding this,
nothing to do with
and I
Israel,
said to
nothing to do
Cameron,
with
on the
Palestine, and I
national
ban both
news,
sets
I
of
heard
protests,
there was
whether you think
something
Israel
going
are
on
peaceful or not. I'd ban
under
them all, mate, because it's nothing to
that
do
the
with the
next voice
majority of the
was
United
taken
Kingdom,
anti-Semitic
which keep saying so. We don't want them on our streets, and I wouldn't have anyone protesting and be arrested and charged with crimes. Under what crime, I don't know, but they would be arrested and charged if I was leader. And that goes for both sides, because it's nothing to do with the United Kingdom, Israel, Palestine conflict, Yemen. It's nothing to do with us, and it's nothing to do with me. And as an elected councillor, I resist all this, and it's going on my leaflet in my next election. Thank you, Lodge. Thank you. Thank you.
In the same way that others would.
He
And you
nudged
have
me and he
no,
told me
I'm
to
not
be
talking
quiet.
about that incident. I mean, generally with the flags and with their views on. Anything else. A bridge mask, which you did get. So that there has to be some parity here because we don't always have to agree with each other's perspective on things that we want.
A few, but the latest claim is that he put an appeal in and he hasn't had an answer within 5 days, which the letter says. So she's going to sort that out, and within 48 hours he will get an answer to his letter. He's complained about the Palestinian protesters in the council meeting, but I think we might have to go to the police. We might have to go to the police.
On this gagging order, it states that they all know, even my elected councillors know. I don't
We
do
probably
emails.
have to go to the police because he's got a crime number, and we'll have to chase that crime number up.
Send it. I have a phone number. You can phone. We can do either post or phone. And if you need it, to ever come on.
Thanks, Lodger. Thank you. Good man, Pete. Always looks after me. And he helped me last election deliver leaflets, and he's going to help this election as well.
If you've got concerns of an assault, you did exactly the right thing in doing that. To reassure you, if the police come to us for any support with that investigation, absolutely, as we would with anybody, we will support that investigation with whatever they ask for. Just to give you that reassurance, I don't know whether they have, I'm not involved in that strategy, but to give you the reassurance as a principle, we absolutely would support that. And I would say to you, you've done the right thing. If you felt threatened, the absolute right place to go. And if you feel there was a physical assault, you've done the right thing there, and we will.
You can
Absolutely support.
You can see that I reported it to the police on the day after. Now, a spokesperson on 101 stated to me, "Well, if you felt threatened and intimidated, why didn't you phone 999 immediately?" I said, "Because you don't come out." He said, "We do." I said, "You don't." He said, "We do." I said, "You don't." Because on one council meeting, Julie Haywood got her hand smashed. Warren Bates got pushed over by the in-house security or private security. iPhone 999, you didn't come out. We were told when it went back from the call handler on 999 to Oldham Police Station to walk the injured lady up to the police station. We got wet through because they wouldn't open the bloody door. And then one was Sergeant Shiraz and another officer. The other officer inspected Julie's hand. I took a photograph of it. He took her down to A&E. And Sergeant Shiraz says, you shouldn't have been in. Well, I were where we were allowed to be. And if you think you're going to ever get back into that council, you can think again, which was disputed by Emma Barton. He'd no right, he overstepped the mark. So he had a sergeant who didn't come out, so the police officers did come 5 days after. 5 days after, and they came 3/4 of an hour at me home before the time that they said they would. I was in Royden, and he said, we're here. I said, it's not 7 o'clock. I said, it's just gone 6. I know, but we're here. Right, I said, you'll have to wait, I'm coming home. But you're not here on time.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, love. Thank you. Thank you. Again, you know we're active. I'm running an election in May. We've got candidates coming up in the Wirral in 2 years, Leicester, 2 years London, 2 years South Gloucester, in 2 years. And I've got one in May, and then I've got a year off until my next election. But thank you very much. It'll go a long way towards our leaflets and that. Thank you.
Right. I'd like to be present at that meeting. Yeah. He said, because you are with 2 people who I am concerned. How do you feel? I said,
Thanks, Sally. Thank you, love.
I'm happy. I said, I'm happy. He said, now, I'll be at the meeting and you can...
Pete's one of them people, Linda, honestly. He is. He's been intimidated, bullied off the police, the council, everything, since for speaking out in a council meeting about child sexual exploitation, which we know has been rife in and around Oldham. And since then, it's been targeted and stuff like that. But you can't call the guy far right or anything. He's nothing like that. He's just an Oldham resident. But like I said, he follows council etiquette and signs things, sends letters in, dates them, answers appeals and all that. So he should be back.
No, because I'm waiting to see how you respond in gagging to being unsafe. Yeah. Now, if the gagging order is withdrawn and we start in dialogue with people in prominent positions and not directors of a government, director of environment that after all introductions and wasn't clarified by my elected MP and
Thank you, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hour and 25 minutes.
The gentleman who
we're stopping soon. Got to go to ICC, my mum's doctor, shortly. So I'm going to get off there.
So they've obviously got the name wrong on here.
It doesn't know, Linda. It doesn't even know he followed it. It's what it says on the letter. They'll get an answer within 5 days. It's what it says.
We've put that to bed for you because it's clear it was. Because if this is Mr. Lawrence,
yeah, this is
Mr. Lawrence wasn't at this meeting.
No,
it was Mr. Hughes instead.
John Hughes,
yeah.
And John Hughes.
So if you just, what would make this better for you, Mr. Brown, in terms of us articulating that this was an incorrect record of that meeting and that we've made a mistake on the name? Do you want us to reissue the letter? Do you want us to issue you a letter that just acknowledges that? What would help you?
No, it's yourselves. I'll keep coming up if I don't think it's acceptable. But you are paid officers, you're prominent positions. I'm just a member of the public that's tried his best in all these years And Rob Blythe were the very first sex offender who they covered up. And the council got his best mate, his colleague, ex ex-inspector of traffic, Chris Gloucester, to sit on a panel without declaring a conflict of interest. This was the initial
I don't know anything about that. So
but Harry Catherall knows when he came to me home. But
no, in
this,
terms of if there is evidence, so if you've got evidence of that there has been a crime or a cover up, I think there is an appropriate way to kind of raise that, and that probably is through the police.
the solicitor and it's all covered up. And it's
As in, you've had a resolution to it,
they've
but
had
you're
no
not happy with the
resolution.
resolution.
They've had no resolution. And this is not. This is why people are fed up. A gentleman asked Ruth Shah, public question times, not in December, might have been November or October. What is your relationship with the gentleman named as Irish Amy, a known convicted criminal? And she just replied the same
Come on, guys,
as it was in
get me some
2019.
clicks in.
Now,
Get it
members of the
shared.
public, let other
And
people sort that out.
and I'm not
All
above
I'm
asking
worried
for
about is
donations for
the
leaflets and stuff
cognitive
like that.
of the
Remember,
guy
we're
who
actively
sits
doing stuff
on
in
being
local
shut up, and in
politics,
everything
and we've
I've
had
ever
pretty good
done, they
results
want to
the past
respect
2
the other.
years with
And
several elections, so we can't go further.
And he's got the certificate by the information his commissioners of. But you've done another one that a solicitor of mine, who unfortunately in Bolton is off sick, and I got letter last Thursday, and he's been off sick, legal national, and all your legal team is doing is dilly-dallying and making you look squeaky clean. All I want.
So are you also taking legal action against us?
There is a case, there's a case. Yeah.
So on this bit, so I understand the process for this. So I was at the meeting. I understand what had happened. Obviously, you previously issued similar letters where we think people have repeatedly breached
No.
the meeting guidelines.
And I think, please, if I don't speak it, please don't.
No, I won't.
I don't know. I don't speak it. I forget it.
Okay.
Now, regarding that, I kicked off, never been in the council